You end generally that chapter with this quote, and I'm going to move into some of the solutions so that not only you can grow in this matter, but so can we. The quote that I also wrote down is this: intolerance is to stand alone. Tolerance is to stumble separately. And inclusion is to walk together. So my friend, let's move toward inclusion. Let's move toward walking together. Let's move toward making not only our country, but the world a far better place to live, reside, and grow in with some of the solutions. I wrote down a few. Number one, I like the way you framed it. Treat your phone like a toothbrush.
Right. Use it very, very briefly and only as a utility as you need to, and then put it back down again.
So for my kids, that means every 6 months, the day before they go to the dentist. So I'm assuming we have an opportunity to maybe use our phone more frequently than that.
Right. But you use it as a utility only as you need to, not as a way of filling time.
Scroll less, read more. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so there is a lot of scrolling, and oftentimes doom scrolling, where people are just actually looking at individual pieces of content for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and then moving on to the next. It's much better for you to be engaged in long form writing. Go back and read a book again. And that's really hard for people to get back into the habit of reading books. You go, my attention span is too short. I can't find them interesting. Yes, you have rewired your brain to constantly be looking for dopamine every 2 or 3 seconds. So if you want to read a book again, here's how you do it. For one week, just read one paragraph a day. For 1 week, just one paragraph a day. Then the second week, you read 1 page a day. For the third week, you read 2 pages a day. For the fourth week, you read 3 pages a day. And that's how you eventually train your brain again into being able to read long form writing like journalisms and podcasts and things like that. So you've got to rewire your brain from this dopamine fix that we've all gotten ourselves addicted to in needing fear or entertainment or mocking somebody else or satire every couple seconds.
You also encourage us to be mindful. What does that word mean to you, and how can we become more mindful?
So if you close your eyes for a second and you go to that spot behind your eyes and between your ears, that's called your conscious. It's also called the witness. And what's amazing, when you go to that spot in your brain, which we all have the ability to do, that witness is actually experiencing a multi-dimension movie. It's a movie in which when you close your eyes, you realize you can see and touch and smell. It's the most amazing movie you've ever experienced. And when you go to that spot, that witness there, you're being mindful. And when you have a reaction to something, you are actually witnessing yourself have a reaction to it. And that when you are more mindful, you will find yourself less reactionary, more calm, and more able to decipher what's coming in versus constantly reacting and being in this constant perpetual treadmill of anxiety and anger.
You got about 3 more in front of you, so I'll just keep rolling through them. You challenge us to play a different game, and you quote from one of my favorite movies from the 80s, War Games.
Mm-hmm.
The only winning move is not to play. So talk about what the game is that we ought to be playing. If you want us to play a different game than the one we've been playing or the one that has played us, what is the game we ought to be playing now?
So the question is where is the front line? Where is the battlefield right now of the Second Civil War? And there is no battle line. I mean, there's no forces out there fighting anywhere. So if you believe we're in a second Civil War, where is the battlefront? And the answer is it's in your mind. So the only way to win this war is to not to play the game. That was the lesson from War Games, which dates both of us tremendously. But it also is the lesson with this is you don't have to play this game, and you can choose yourself off of the battlefield anytime you choose. You realize that once you're off the battlefield, that you have been a victim of somebody else's game.
And the final piece that I'd like to talk about is you challenge us to be a true patriot. And before I encourage you to tell me more about that, I'm going to read how you define being patriotic. So here it is. Being patriotic is about fighting for what is in the best interest of your fellow Americans, not what is in your personal or partisan best interest.
Yeah. So we all believe in having values, right? We have respect, honor, responsibility, integrity. We look at all these values and we go, I want to be like that. And the truth is, values are a price that we pay for the benefit of somebody else. So what patriotism has come to believe to most people is I get what I want and I get freedom. That's not what patriotism really is. Patriotism is a cost that we pay for the benefit of other people. So I will say that my definition of patriotism is completely subjective. I have no more moral high ground. I don't have a monopoly on defining what patriotism is, but I laid out what I thought it means to be patriotic, at least to me, to see if it spurred some other discussion among other people. But once again, patriotism, we use the word sacrifice. And for some reason, we kind of have it wired in our head that sacrifice means dying on the battlefield. No, sacrifice means stopping for red lights. It means allowing someone to go in front of you. It means wearing a mask so other people don't get infected. That's what sacrifice means. It means those little teeny prices that we pay that benefit somebody else besides ourselves.
If you are more committed to national unity than partisanship, please check out my book, The Second Civil War, A Citizen's Guide to Healing Our Fractured Nation. My book will challenge you to improve your relationships with friends and family. Click the link in the description below.